Welcome to MMA UK Live with myself, Chris Ross. I have UFC, newly UFC fighter, Paul the Bearjew Craig. Pleasure to meet you, my man.
It's a pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure.
That's great. So, you've got your record at 8-0. You're a world champion as it stands just now, and you're taking a step up to the big time with the UFC. Now, you have stated many a time that it's not about the money, it's about the legacy. Your next fight is against Lewis, or we'll get the Portuguese pronunciation. We can probably offend him 400 million times.
Listen, he doesn't have social media, man. He's worse than Where's Wally? Can't find the guy on social media at all.
He's like the old 80s backtracks in Brazil.
No, I even looked in Bebo and MySpace, looked in both of them.
Nothing.
Couldn't see him in any two, man. Looking for some old profile pictures of him in the favelas, looking badass, but there's nothing there.
Nothing, nada. Okay, so looking forward to this fight. Did you know much about your opponent before it was carded?
I don't even watch UFC, man. I don't even watch MMA. I go to the shows, local shows, and I'm watching. I'm like, this is pish. I watch UFC and I'm like, my god, these guys are pish.
So you're very much focused on yourself and where you're going.
Yeah, it sounds very egotistical, but I'm pretty much like that. Brian, my coach, he decides what's the best for me. If he says we need to work stand up, then we will need to work stand up. If he says I want you to work the 1-2 hook, man, that's what we'll be working. He's the man that comes up with the plan. I'm just the vessel. Points in the right direction, and then we go. It's worked for the last 8 fights, as well as amateur. We were unbeaten, so why would we change it?
Well, you've got that record professional at 8-0, which is absolutely fantastic. Because obviously you don't know, because you're not interested in him. Stylistically, this is a really great matchup for you. You really are the submission specialist. So how do you see this fight going for yourself? Because you've not went beyond 2 rounds so far.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining that obviously you're going for the win, but will you be going for it quickly?
UFC is one of these things where I would like to say that I'm going to go in there and get the job done, but you'll not be remembered in the UFC, the guy who goes in there in the last 2 minutes. Yeah. UFC want you to put on a show, so I want to put a show on for myself because I know I can do it.
Yeah.
And I know he's for what I've said, for what we've spoke about with my coach and this whole thing we're working on, I know he's a kickboxer. I know I'm a grappler, so I'm happy to stand, and that's the thing, man. I'm sparring with pro boxers every single week. You know, I'm training with some of the best heavyweights in Britain and Scotland have to offer, guys who are training for European level fights and all that. And if I'm fighting a guy who's claiming he's a kickboxer in MMA, man, I've seen some of these guys kickboxing, man, they're pish. So I'm happy to stand there and I'm happy to bang. And it's like, when I actually showcase my stand-up, people are actually like, well, you actually can do some stand-up, and I've got massive amounts of power in my hands once I let them go. If he's silly enough to stand in front of me and stand there flat-footed, man, I'm putting him in his back, and then I'm going to hammer fist the life out of his face.
So this is very much not just a statement fight, but a showcase fight for yourself. You're going to stylistically show what you bring to the table, yeah? So in terms of your training, obviously December the 17th, Sacramento's when you're starting. Everything going smoothly, feeling great?
Everything's been amazing, you know what I mean? It just happened. I sort of wrote this year off. I was like, you know what, we're not going to get the UFC, we're not going to get that big fight. We had messed up the fight with Chris Fields with regards to tearing a ligament in my ankle, but we came back there, and as soon as I went back in training, because I hate sitting in my arse doing nothing, so back in training, and made sure I'm always in good shape. So when we got that call, we were like, this is perfect. Yeah. This is perfect. The only thing that's the downside is when you stay in Scotland, it's bloody freezing.
Well, we're feeling this today.
You can see that.
Nipples with JCB stop buttons, free Adam's apples, the cold air is getting us.
It's cold, but then that's where me and him differ. He's in a nice warm climate, you know. I imagine he stays in Brazil because he's from Brazil. I imagine he's getting up, he's in this nice warm climate. He's not got the same struggles that I've got. Waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's pitch black and it's freezing cold, and if I'm taking the car to the gym, man, I've got to scrape like an inch ice off it. And then I'm coming to the gym where we are just now, and it's absolutely freezing. But it's that whole thing about, do you want it? Do you want this? Do you want to get up at 5 o'clock and absolutely destroy your body for 6 to 7 weeks, and then after that take it out a wee bit later to get ready for this? And I want it, and I'm really hungry.
Now, after Luis and Enrique, we're next for you, because you've got guys like Darren Williams, you've got lots of people that are just starting out that have comparable records to yourself. Obviously not undefeated, but they have the comparable records. Who would you be looking to take on next?
I don't want to take an easy fight. I don't want to go right. The guy I'm fighting is 18th in the UFC rankings, so I want to go higher than that.
So you want to break into that top 15?
Definitely. I want to break into the top 10. We've got some of these guys like these. I quite like beating up Brazilians, man. That's what I want to do. What about like a guy like Shogun or Nog? One of these guys, one of these old legends, man. We bring them back to Scotland. We end their careers here and we allow Paul to step up. That's what I want. You know what? This is my plan, and I like having plans. We wipe out Enrique. We then go to UFC London, we do the damage down there, and then we managed, because we do it all right, and we get the publicity and we get everybody behind us, and we bring in one of these UFC legends, let me whoop them, they then end their career and I then go on to bigger and better things. You know what, I want to spend next year bashing balls, man. I want to kick them.
Now you sound as if you're very keen on keeping active. Sort of career-wise at the stage you're at just now, per year, injuries notwithstanding, how often are you looking to fight, and are you looking to bring a showcase fight to Scotland, for example? Yeah,
that's like, fight-wise, I want to fight every 6 weeks. See, if I could, man, I'd fight every week. And I hope, just with my actual ability to fight, my ability to talk, my ability to get people to buy into me, is going to allow the UFC to be like, you know what, we'll try and push this guy and we'll try and get him to fight as much as he can. So for me, I want like 4 or 5 fights a year, easy. Showcase, man, I want one of the big fights. I want a big fight to come to Scotland. Yeah. I don't want to be in the bottom card. I don't want to be Robert Whiteford walking out in front of you. Like, don't get me wrong, that was pretty inspirational watching him walking out as the first Scottish guy to fight in the UFC.
After you've thrown him under the bus there, right?
I know, I threw him under the bus. You know what, he's not getting back in UFC Scotland. There's no enough room for him. But with regards to me, I want to be in that main card. I want to be in the main card, fighting a legend, fighting somebody of worth. I don't want to be fighting another. I don't want to fight bums.
Where are we looking at in 2 years' time for you?
2 years' time, I'm going to be the champion.
Yep.
I don't even care who's got the belt, man. I don't see Daniel Cormier retaining that belt. I don't see Rumble Johnson taking it off him. I see John Jones coming back, and I see him taking off John Jones. And I was talking because I got to meet what's that guy called, Brian Winklejohn? What's his name? I don't know people's names. What's his name? Greg Jackson. And I said, oh, would you like to? I mean, he's quite, like, listening to him speaking, he's quite inspirational. I was like, man, he's quite a cool guy. I said to Brian, would you like to go out there and train? He said, no. And I said, why not? I mean, he's got like guys like John Jones, he's got Liam McGeary. I mean, he's got some big names there. And he says, why would I want you fighting against the guy you're going to take his belt? And I like that attitude with coaches, like saying, right, we don't want to train with him because we don't want to give him an edge in knowing what we can do to him.
Yeah.
And I believe that we're going to fuck him up.
Well, that, I mean, right from the off, 2 years, that's a tight time scale, but things have been going quicker for you than what you anticipated.
Yep.
With regards to, you'll always, I'm assuming, because I can see loyalty is a big thing for you, you'll always be a Scottish Hit Squad. I can just see that, just from looking at you and the way, the passion that you have for that. How are you going to mix up in terms of your career going forward with these fights being in America? Visa issues, everything else, they're all sorted, I would imagine,
everything's sorted. Visa and all that's kind of sorted. I'm not a bad guy. It's not as if I grew up in the mean streets stabbing folk to get my way, you know, like...
How about Brian? He looks pretty rough.
He is rough. He grew up in the mean streets of Uddingston. Or if he's wanting to be really rough, he calls it View Park.
View Park, yeah. So you're going under an assumed name to America then, yeah?
But no, Visa and all that, no visa issues at all. As I said, I'm not a bad guy. I didn't grow up in the mean streets. I didn't cause any trouble. I mean, in school I was a bit of a pain in the arse, but apart from that, I wasn't a bad guy in the streets. I wasn't stabbing anybody.
I find that funny that you're saying you're a pain in the arse in schools, because a lot of the stuff you're doing your day job is vocational helping kids.
You want to hear one of the funny stories? So I not long started working in high schools, and I remember I'm back to my old high school, and I'm sitting in the French department, and I'm sitting there, and this teacher looks at me, and I'm like, oh my God, she remembers me. And she looks at me again, and I'm thinking, fucking right, she remembers me. So she comes up to me and she says, Paul Craig. And this was maybe about, I'm talking probably about 9 years for I'd left school at this point, and she still remembered me. And she says to me, you'll get what's coming to you. And I just remember this line, you'll get what's coming to you. Because she said to me, she says, you were my first year out of university, you were my first group, and you made my life hell. And I nearly broke I nearly made her quit teaching, and she's like, you'll get what's coming to you. And I thought, nah, I don't get what's coming to me, but I did get what's coming to me, man. There's been some times, there's been some stressful times, but I love my job. Where else can I wake up and inspire young adults to like achieve what they want in life? And I'm a perfect example of that. They look at me and there's a path there, because it's not as if I've been doing this for like 10 years and I've sacrificed everything. I've done this for 4.5 years, 5 years at the most. And I've got to where I've got to. So kids look at it and say, you know what, it's achievable. I'm young. They're looking at me, they're saying maybe they're 16. I'm young, I can do anything I want.
And do many of the kids chat to you about what you've done, what you've achieved so far? I mean, I've seen the stuff in the papers now, you've run in with the belt and everything, you came world champion.
They love it, they do love it, and it's nice, it's a nice feeling when Kids are going to look up to you for your MMA fighter, but kids are going to look up to you a wee bit more if you're in there and you're trying to talk to them about life. I've got life experience, man. I've done some stupid things. To be old and wise, first you must be young and stupid.
Okay, so some stupid things. Come on, give me a laugh. Give me an example.
You want to laugh, man?
Because obviously it's nothing the Procurator Fiscal's done you for.
No. This was in high school. I used to have a science teacher, right? He was a nice big guy, the friendliest guy you ever meet. I was a pain in the arse. We were in German period 1, and me and a young boy called Stephen had ripped all the cotton, the stuff that holds the blades together.
Yeah.
We'd taken that, tied it around 2 tables, and as he walked past, gave it a wee yank. He went down like a sack of ties. Right, now, as a young guy, that's hilarious. I was in stitches, but because it was tied around my table and the wee guy's table, we got pulled out, and it was basically, we're no grassing. And then all of a sudden the guy who wasn't grassing just turned into grass, man.
He's all done.
It was Paul.
Now, there'll be viewers watching that maybe, I don't know why, but wouldn't be aware of you and where you are and where you've gone. Obviously 8-0, light heavyweight. The name, Bearjew, for the viewers that don't know.
Everybody asks. So what had happened was, we stopped calling myself the Bearjew. I've been called a few names. I used to get called the Legend, and then when I went on
I can bet in Coatbridge you've been called quite a few
things. I got a few things on a Saturday night. So I was called the Legend. They used to call me Paul the Legend.
It was just cringing when they were doing it.
I hate it. Right? They would do it in the gym. They'd call me these different names in the gym. The Legend, the Ninja Killer. They called me at one point as well. And somebody started calling me the Jew Bro. This is where it came from, and then it went from being the Jew Bro to the Bearjew. The actual real reason of it, I'll never come out until maybe I end my career. But the Bearjew is my nickname, and it's quite a cool name.
So you've not been caning Nazis with a baseball bat?
No. It's there's no way name about Coatbridge. So, but no, it's a cool nickname, and at one point I didn't like it, but then I went out to a fight and everybody was chanting Bearjew, and that's kind of cool, man. So I went, let's keep this. Let's see if Dana White likes it. And you know what? They've not even come back to me and said, no, we don't like the Bearjew.
Yeah.
Or I would be caning some bald dude with a bat.
That's it. Just so you can live up to the name. Mm-hmm. So you were saying you're young, you're like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Hulk Hogan, that. In terms of like martial arts, who were your sort of inspirations when you were younger? None?
You know, I'd watched.
See, that's strange because you normally get people going, I watched Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bloodsport and all this stuff.
Well, everybody's seen these films. As a young guy, you know, I was into the action films, man. Big Trouble, Little China, Karate Kid. Everybody wanted to be Daniel's son doing the crane kick, man. Even though that's an illegal move, and his pal just get DQ'd for getting kicked in the face, man. So he won with an illegal move. But I used to love these kind of films. You know, they would take you away for this world where, like,
bit of fantasy.
Fantasy. But it was always like, you know, the good guy always wins in the end, and I like that kind of thing.
So how did you get involved in this then?
I'll tell you. Look, this is the true story.
This isn't the Disney version.
No, this isn't the Disney version. Right, I had a good pal. In fact, he manages me now, and we went away to a caravan, and we were away there, and we were getting a scoop. I was a young guy, and
how old were you? Around about?
It had been 5 years ago, so it would have been I'd been 24, 23, 24. So we're away there. It was somebody's birthday, somebody's 21st, in fact, having a wee scoop. Get a caravan.
Which for any other international viewers in Scotland, that's a danger in itself.
Getting a scoop with loads of guys in a caravan. I know what you're thinking. It sounds a bit gay. It probably is a bit gay. Anyway, we all get in there, and me and my pal used to wrestle all the time, like kid wrestle. You know, we went to the gym, we were a bit about ourselves. Alright, come on then, let's go on the bed here and roll, and if I touch your cock it's alright. So we're in there.
That does sound pretty just so you know.
So we're in there, they put me in this move, and he's like, going to break my arm, and I'm like, and he's like, just tap. I'm like, what the hell's tap? And he was going to snap my arm. I didn't know what he was doing. He had me in an arm bar. And I said, what the hell is that? And he went, my uncle took me to this class. And I went, what kind of class is that? And he went, it's UFC chokes. And I went, I don't know what that is. So a few weeks later he said, fancy coming? And I said, nah, that's gay. That's super gay. So he takes me into this.
Let's hold the bus here, right? So
I'm not gay bashing, by the way.
touching the cock in the caravan wasn't gay, but
he's rubbing his elbow. My elbow's touching his junk. So anyway, he brings me to this. He brings me to this gym here, and this was before Brian had taken over the gym himself. It was a kickboxing gym, and then Brian had like 2 hours at the night, 2 hours on a Tuesday, 2 hours on a Thursday, and I came along, and I go in here, and it's during the middle of the summer, and it's a bit sweaty, and there's half naked guys, because for some reason MMA guys love to take off their top and show you how sweaty they are. Like, oh, look how sweaty I am. So anyway, I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh man, this is weird. This is just weird. These guys are all sweaty, they're just kind of sliding all over you, man. It's like a mud wrestling minus the chicks and minus the mud. So anyway, the very first move that Brian ever showed me was the armbar, and it just was weird, you know. Like I didn't have a cup or anything, so I'm like trying to get this guy's elbow into my junk, and I'm trying to lift it. I was like, I look at my pal and said, that's weird, man, let's no come back here. So anyway, he says, no, Paul, trust me, it's a really good sport. I'm still calling it UFC chokes at this point. And we then come back again, next move we learn the triangle. Yeah, again, another weird move if anybody doesn't know. You pull the face, lock up, wrap your legs around their face and pull your face into your crotch. That's weird. Turns out I was really good at holding guys to the ground. I could hold them down there all day, man, and just like slide about, man. I was moving like a young John Travolta on Saturday Night Fever. And then I started competing. Brian said to me, fancy doing a comp? There's a comp in Glasgow. In fact, it was Kilmarnock. I went to Kilmarnock.
Deepest, darkest there, sure.
I know. Had done a few folk and was like, man, this is fun. This gets you jacked. I'd not done any competitive sports prior to that. Football was my only thing, and it was like win, lose or draw. You don't really care at that age. But this was like, you, me, two is face off to each other, let's go for it, the better man wins. And from that I just kind of went up and down Britain just doing different comps, and I found out this is brilliant. This is really good. When you look into a guy's eyes and you see him panicking, that for me is priceless. When he knows and you know there's this sort of mutual respect, you fucked up, man, and you're about to either get choked out or you're about to either get your rim. You're gonna get rimmed.
We're back to the caravan again.
So anyway, that's where it started. My coach said, you fancy me, Lawrence Murphy, who was a WBU welterweight champion back in the day, and he was in showing his boxing. I didn't feel I could box. I was too pretty. I was like, man, I don't like a punch in the face, man. It's just silly. It turns out I was pretty good at punching in the face, man. I could take a punch. So then it went for this, and there was this last minute replacement down on a show down in Newcastle, and we were fighting for the title eliminator. I'll never forget it. And I remember I was 0.5 over the allowance. First fight, the guy had like 7-2, I think he was, or 7-1, and he goes, it's fine, let him leave it. So you just kind of thought, I didn't realise that. There was no pressure on me. And I remember I got in, I just grabbed him, judo hit through him, landed in side control, and done a judo armbar, because I had a limited amount of moves that I knew, because I was early.
Your play set there.
I was like, this was brilliant, and then it popped his shoulder, and I was like, oh man, that's awesome. And he's holding his arm, and he's hamming it up, he's like, and I remember I went in to see him after, and he's crying, and I'm thinking, what a pussy, man up, man, you've just lost a fight, it's not the end of the world. But then the more and more I get into it, I realised, well, it's the end of the world for some of these guys, because I was a guy with no experience. I was a guy who, he thought he was just going to go out the road, and then he would get his feet. And that's what I thought, and I realised then that's why he was crying. And then everybody I've fought against, man, it's always been this sort of underdog story, and I quite like that, because remember, I grew up, man, 80s films, you know, all these underdogs where like I'm having to battle, I'm having to do the Rocky montage, I'm out in the freezing cold, man, I'm in the meat locker punching that big slab of meat. So I was always an underdog, and I quite like that.
See, you're going to have this again though, because you've just been world champion again, and now underdog again into the UFC. So you've got your 2 years, champ 2 years. What's the sort of lasting legacy that you want to bring to the sport, not just in Scotland but worldwide?
I don't want to leave, because I see guys who have nothing. Like you look at boxers, you look at kickboxers, you look at guys who are professional footballers. They end their sport and that's nothing for them. That's them. They've spent all their money, you know what, they've put it all up their nose, they've put it all up their arse, one of the two of them. And I don't want that. I'm pretty grounded, man. I know what I want for life. If it was up to me, if you said to me, Paul, I can get anywhere in the world. I want a farm, I want a couple of chickens, a couple of pigs, a couple of cows, man. I want to live off the grid. I want to have a quad, man. I want to chop wood for the family. I want to walk about with an axe in my back and be like, hey, you know, like the guy off the bounty adverts, like, hey ladies, that's what I want. I'm happy with that kind of stuff.
I don't this off your missus yet.
No, she probably doesn't know we're going to a farm. Baby, we're going to a farm. But anyway, that's what I want. I'm happy waking up in my freezing cold Scotland. I love Scotland, man. Scotland's a beautiful place. There's people come all over the world to see Scotland, and I'm happy to be here. I hate the sun. The sun is a pain in the hole, man. You sweat too much. I'm a big dude, man. Big sweat patches. That's not a cool look to be rocking. You try and wear these kind of trendy chinos that the young guys are wearing, you end up with big crotch sweat patches all over the shop, man. That's not for me. So I want a nice cold farm. That's what I want, man. That's what my legacy is, and I want like my daughters to be happy. I want them to have everything they want. I don't need anything, man. I'm 28. I've I've done without anything in my life, man. I've got a wee crappy Ford Fiesta, which is probably needing an MOT, probably needing 4 tyres and all this kind of stuff, but I don't care. I'm happy waking up in the morning, I'm happy going to my work, and I'm happy when I come home at night. That's what I want from the lifestyle.
Absolute pleasure chatting to you, Paul.
It's fantastic.
Good luck in December the 17th, UFC Sacramento. For all our viewers, tune in MMA UK live. Catch us 7 PM every Thursday, and check the Facebook page and Twitter for more information and news. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, man. Stay beautiful.